Hello, I'm Alberto Cavallero of Perkins Eastman, leading the design effort for this project. Our Shanghai, New York studio is grateful for this opportunity to continue our connection with the culture and architecture of the Wuxi region. We're delighted with the process of our Symphony Hall project and look forward to its opening at the end of this year, and we're deeply committed to its success. We're fascinated by the potential of this Peach Museum project and the way it combines traditional museum exhibits with immersive environments, its integration of research space and meeting space, and its strong connection to the region. We recognize an important opportunity to create more than just a building and site. This can be a place that is richly layered with meaning. It will start with how it looks. There's a high standard for how memorable a place must be to attract people from all over the country, and we feel we've crafted a design that will do exactly that. But this is more than just an aesthetic gesture. As with a person, there is truth under the skin, an emotional response, particularly given the significance of the topic of peaches and peach blossoms. These emotions touch on a great tradition of Chinese poetry and painting. Our architecture aspires to work on that poetic level as well. Then there's the historical dimension. The project and its museography should convey the deep historical context of peaches in China, a history thought to be more than 6,000 years old. Another dimension of this project is the educational potential. The process of peach cultivation, a mixture of science and artistry that has developed over millennia, is fascinating and important. This can be a place where we teach future generations the beauty and importance of the craft. And finally, we see a rare opportunity to make a museum that doesn't just show. It plays a role in the production and distribution of peaches. This will make it a unique museum experience. Let's look at the project's fundamental organization, starting with the building itself. We see the main entrance to the site as a forecourt at the south side, allowing building entrance from the south in accordance with traditional planning principles for cultural buildings. This orients the vehicular entrance from the major north-south road. Parking access will also be from the southern zone and is fully accommodated below grade. A secondary entrance is from the smaller east-west road. This door serves not only as a service point, but also as a community market hub for sharing locally grown products year-round. It is a working connection between the surrounding farms and the museum. Turning to the site, ecotourism continues to be a rising trend, and this project represents a rare opportunity to create a strong connection between nature, architecture, culture, and a sense of adventure. The building's connection to the surrounding site is created with a network of walkways and waterways that extend the mission of the museum outward around the park and extend the fun, family-oriented character of the camping areas onto the museum grounds. We call our concept Harvest. It is thematically ambitious, aspiring to be a truly unique museum experience. It's not just where we talk about peach cultivation, it's where the cultivation happens. It's equal parts experimental landscape design and bold architecture. It rises up from the earth to reveal, demonstrate, and celebrate. It is a working museum, a place of production. There's nothing like it in China or anywhere else in the world. The form of the architecture draws its meaning from elements of culture and science. The geometry of the building celebrates the 24 solar terms of the Chinese lunisolar calendar, arrayed at 15-degree increments around the central axis of the museum. This calendar has deep roots in Chinese agrarian history and culture. 22 of these roof elements are planting plots, spiraling up and around the center. Each is accessible to visitors and museum staff. They combine actual peach trees used for cultivation with an interpretive gardenscape that will be attractive year-round. The whole building is a sort of machine for peach cultivation, with the formal museum entrance at the south and a more informal community front door anchored at the north. The museum experience is not restricted to the interior space. 2 amphitheaters create outdoor convening spaces, and the rooftop walkways are a dynamic part of the museum experience. The bilateral organization of the building expresses balance. Balance between production and consumption, between work and leisure, and of course between the missions of the museum program: exhibition, research, meeting, and education. The anatomy of the building allows visitors to navigate the building three-dimensionally, not just moving around horizontally, but reaching up into the sky and down into the earth like the peach tree itself. And the building form rises up to two important and independent spaces: a museum cafe and a major meeting space. Each will have a commanding view of the nearby mountains and will be in demand as must-see visitor spaces and event rental spaces. The epicenter of the building is an abstraction of volcanic form, recognizing the fundamental importance that volcanic soil plays in the success of peach cultivation in this region. The interior experience here will be extraordinary, and we'll describe that momentarily. The layering of all these meanings is important. It creates a total that we feel is greater than the sum of its parts. The form of the building is by nature aspirational, reaching up to the sky to capture light, water, and views. Now let's focus on how these forms and spaces translate into the museum experience. Visitors will be able to arrive at the museum from several different vantage points. From street level at the east, where a pedestrian drop-off accommodates cars and buses. From here, cars can descend into the below-grade parking structure, where direct entry is also available for visitors. Other visitors will arrive from a docking point at the river, where an elegant promenade provides a distinct experience from a visitor service center, across an event lawn, outdoor marketplace, and exhibition hall. Small-scale waterways within the park are also access routes for visitors within the park zone to reach the museum grounds. At the entry level, a large central circulation zone provides clear wayfinding for visitors. We picture 4 major public-facing spaces arrayed around this center, each with curated views to the exterior. First, the multipurpose hall is a flexible exhibition and community space. Then, the Meta Gallery, an interactive overview of the seasonal life of the peach orchard, where visitors can place themselves in the orchard and gain an overall understanding of the cultivation process. Then there's the Creative Lab, where we're first exposed to the cultural and artistic resonance of the peach harvest, from art to poetry and literature. Visitors are invited here to a range of activities from the purely observational to the participatory. And of course, the gift shop plays an essential role for the museum, allowing visitors to carry away a physical memory of their experience here. As we descend to the lower level, we're figuratively and literally digging deeper into the meaning of the harvest. The ramp itself is an educational journey with displays celebrating the process and technology of cultivation. The galleries at this lower level have an important organizational premise. They can be experienced enfilade, that is, passing directly from one gallery to the next. Or, for those needing a moment of respite, there's always the option to step out into the central circulation zone, where there's an airy and open feel with daylight piercing the interior and comfortable seating throughout. And while the final design of the galleries may evolve, we've developed a vision for a suite of gallery environments that vary from high-tech spaces featuring VR and naked eye 3D technology to low-tech tactile experiences like the Touch Gallery and the Craft Studio, to the memorable experience of the Peach Garden Maze. At this level, we're able to modulate the penetration of daylight in service of this dynamic gallery experience. 2 outdoor spaces add to the dynamism of this museum experience, allowing for the exhibition of real plantings, or for a sculpture gallery, or teaching or performance spaces. At the center is the crown jewel of the museum experience, the immersive theater, architecturally inspired by the volcanic geology that is so important to this region. This 360-degree digital experience will transport large groups of viewers to a new level of understanding and experience. In this room, the environment can transform from an ancient forest to the interior of a volcano to the cellular matrix of a tree's structure. At the upper level, the interior rises up to the most dramatic views of the surrounding area. The museum cafe will have a commanding view of Changyao Mountain, and the research hub will have an equally stunning view towards Dayang Mountain. The Harvest Terrace an outdoor space shared between these two spaces, can be used as an extension of these spaces or for separate events. The museum journey continues outside the walls of the building. The rooftop is first and foremost a formal garden experience in the tradition of Versailles, or the Villa d'Este, where we can delight in the shade of trees and the smells from flowers and the views of the surrounding landscape from a continuously rising elevation above ground. Each side of the rooftop also has its own character. The meandering slow path on the east side includes seating areas, hammocks, outdoor exhibits, encouraging a thoughtful traverse. This side is gently sloped to accommodate the passage of wheelchairs and strollers. The network of stairs on the west side access a set of garden spaces with their own unique character. Between these two sides, there is a reward for the visitors who've risen to the top. The Panopticon is a portion of the immersive theater that is only accessible from this level. This display is a modern take on the panorama. The panorama was the very first immersive exhibit from 1787, predating even photographic technology. Here, the 360-degree display allows visitors to look back in time or into the future, or to change their location to elsewhere in the world. A skylight in the space provides a tangible connection to our location here in Yangshan. The landscape design is based on a few fundamental tenets. First, the general approach is open and green, with a low density of built structures in response not just to the museum's mission, but also in recognition to its location among farmland and between the green valleys adjoining the nearby mountains. Next, the museum is the primary landmark within a network of multifunctional spaces connected by walkways and waterways. Of importance to us is that these aren't just pathways, but also an opportunity to create real places in the landscape that are destinations of their own. The experimental peach field, for instance, where visitors can experience peach orchards for themselves, an agricultural education zone, a forestscape, an event lawn, and the existing campground as well. In this way, seasonal changes can be celebrated throughout the landscape, while maintaining a beautiful year-round appearance on the museum building itself. The site and landscape are a good transition point to discuss sustainability for the project, because our most impactful initiatives begin here. The intensive green roof system retains water, delays runoff, and will allow us to minimize the need for irrigation systems. The use of native plantings is consistent with the mission of the museum and with basic principles of sustainable site design. This has the added benefit of reducing the requirements for maintenance as well. At the building, a key goal is to provide a super insulated building envelope. This starts with the deep earthen roof that we're using as a planting medium, the highly stable thermal conditions of the below-grade spaces, and continues to the exterior walls, which have an overall glazing ratio of less than 35%. We're using daylight strategically to animate the interior while maintaining a tight thermal envelope. We do see an opportunity for renewable energy in the form of a small-scale wind turbine network arrayed around the site. This would be consistent also with the overall educational mission of the museum and site. To reduce the embodied carbon from construction, we propose a simple set of materials, including fast-growing bamboo, recycled ceramics, and locally sourced stone. We envision a cooling and heating system as elegant and simple as the building itself. A hydronic thermal loop encircles the site, feeding fan rooms at each vertical core and connecting to a central heat pump cooling plant that can reject heat to the adjacent waterways, obviating the need for unsightly and noisy cooling towers while optimizing energy recovery. The structural system is also conceived with simplicity in mind. The V-shaped columns are meant to address both gravity and lateral forces. With the likely use of concrete as the fundamental building material, we recommend a fly ash admixture to further reduce the building's carbon footprint. There's a very practical, low-tech aspect of the building's sustainability that is important to us. While the building's appearance is sophisticated, the building itself is made of simple geometric forms that strategically repeat. Formwork can be reused throughout the building to minimize cost and complexity. We're focusing on creating a long-lived, well-insulated, well-built building, rather than on fancy systems, to increase energy efficiency and minimize ongoing costs of maintenance. As an institutional work of architecture, we intend for this to be a 100-year building. The harvest. The form of the building rises from the landscape, creating a memorable and iconic architectural presence while drawing us into the interior. We're aiming for something poetic and profound, for more than just a building. Think of the story of the peach blossom spring, where the fisherman discovers an otherworldly and beautiful place. When we enter here, we enter both a building and a landscape, a world of discovery and refuge, to which we will long to return again and again. Thank you for your time and consideration.